Welcome back, MVPs. Welcome back to another episode of the Raptors Den, presented to you by Faulty Logics. You have myself, Dan, and my co-host, Peter.
What's up, guys?
And Peter, what do we have on the plate today?
So on the agenda that we have here today, wrapping up the NBA regular season that did end yesterday, April the 11th. Just for some good news to start off the podcast, we have some very good positive news coming out of the G League / NBA out of the Lakers camp with Andrew Ingram coming and making his NBA debut. A couple late season signings from a couple playoff bound teams that would make up a significant change on the rosters. Well, not significant, but a little bit of a change. Some news coming from north of the border. Tristan Thompson, Canadian, off of basketball related, but still good basketball news that we got to talk about.
I love it.
We have our playoff matchup set in stone, so we know who's got who and when, as well as the NBA 2018 awards, Raptor Den Awards here that we're giving out to our people that we think are going to be MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, things of that nature. Seeing how it's going to stack up to the professionals, seeing who is right and how many we get right there for us going forward. So I know that we want to give out one more shout out to our giveaway that we're giving out there for you, Dan.
Absolutely. So that's the we have 2 Google Play gift cards worth $15 each.
2.
All you have to do is make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a comment on any of the Raptors Den episodes down below. Make sure your profile is public so that we know that you're subscribed, and we'll pick somebody at 100 subscribers.
Mm-hmm. We're very close, guys. Let's get this going before the season's over here. But let's just jump right into this positive news that we have coming from the NBA. It shows a real good sign of perseverance, grittiness, never giving up on the dream. It will all pay off.
Story, man.
And that's what we need right going into the end of the season here, especially from a Lakers organization that's had very few good stories coming out of their camp this season. Just the one of Andrew Ingram, who was just a perennial G League player, 32 years old, was on the grind for 10 seasons. Like, just before we even get into his debut and his numbers, I was thinking here myself, after 10 years...
You think you'd give up, right?
Not even give up. Like, I understand your dreams to get to the NBA. Go overseas. I saw an article that he was getting paid lower than $30,000 a season for what he was doing in the G League.
Right.
If he went overseas to China, like anywhere else, he would be making
millions.
Even if not millions, hundreds of thousands. Yeah. Like, the Ball brothers went to Lithuania. LaMelo is 16, and he's making $40,000 to $50,000 a season. A 28-year-old proven veteran guy could make easily $100,000 in the Lithuanian league. So to me, I tip my hat to Andrew Ingram, for putting in the hard work, the dedication, staying with the G League, and showing that hard work pays off.
Yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's a feel-good story. When you hear about stories like these guys, you can't do anything other than just applaud them. So awesome job for him.
A lot of good work on Andrew Ingram's play there. I also have to applaud the Lakers organization. Not many organizations would do something like that. Like, there's nothing to play for, so I can see it's not going to hurt them.
Right.
But it doesn't benefit them in any way. So what's the point of doing it?
I don't know. It hurt me though, because Kyle Kuzma didn't play his last three games.
Oh, man, okay, like that's a big deal for you in wrapping up your fantasy season.
I would have gone 3 for 3 with all 3 of my teams, but Kuzma, I was down
Making
5 3-pointers.
5 3-pointers.
3 games, dude.
You should have picked up Andrew Ingram, man. He was the franchise, the season leader of 3-point percentage in the G League this year.
Yo, he probably wasn't even pickable.
That's fair. It probably would have if he made the roster. Well, no, if you were already in your week, he probably wouldn't have been signed.
I was already in my week.
That's true. But... Okay, fair. But going into Ingram's debut, at 32 years young, he came in and put up a respectable stat line.
Yes.
Like, he came off the bench with 19 points, shooting 6 for 8 from the field, 4 for 5 from behind the arc. We were just alluding to his 3-point prowess. His powers out behind the arc, shooting a whopping 42 or something % in the G League.
I think it's one of the best NBA debuts ever.
It has been. Actually, it was the top 3 or 4 Laker rookie NBA debuts. He was only behind Magic Johnson, the logo Jerry West, and like Elgin Baylor. Like that's just unbelievable to be like the 4th best. No, it's actually Nick Van Axel had a better start than Ingram did. But having the 4th out of a storied franchise of the Lakers, that's unbelievable.
Rookie of the year.
Why not? Hey, we're about to talk about the awards. We can throw it in there. But it just gives me like, that's a story you can tell your grandkids. Even if you don't play another NBA game ever,
Right.
I'm the 4th best debut Laker of all time.
Yeah, and
That's
he's got a jersey
unbelievable.
on his back.
Yep, he's got the contract. He's got records books. He had a little bit of a love from Chris Paul when he was checking in, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the respect that was coming around league wide is just so great to see.
He's in the history books.
He is. That's something you'll never be able to take away from him.
Kobe Bryant gave him some love.
Yep. Actually, everybody. LeBron gave him love. Like, it just shows hard work and dedication pays off. Like,
Respect.
just fight it through, guys.
I don't
Just
know if
keep
you
going.
saw the video of when they actually called him up in the
Yeah.
office.
Yep.
Man, that video, that was touching,
It got me.
dude.
It got me too, because he's saying that he's just like, I was wondering why these 2 big dogs are here, and he was looking at Magic Johnson
Yeah.
and the owner Jerry Buss was there too. Like, when the heck will any of them be at a G League season wrap up meeting?
And then-
something's weird.
He calls his wife on the phone.
Mhm.
Man,
That's
that,
it.
the feels.
Made it.
Right in the feels.
It is. But good for you one more time for Andrew Ingram. Hopefully we see him next year. He is 32 years old. Like, he's not a young buck.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to invest in the long term with him. He is kind of old. But hey, Lakers can't really do anything wrong because they're pretty much at the bottom. They can only go up.
Right.
But moving on to a couple of these late season signings from 2 playoff bound teams. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers going out of their way to pick up has-been Kendrick Perkins, as well as the Wizards going out and picking up a pretty serviceable guard in Ty Lawson. What do you think those 2 people are going to do to their respective matchups that they have in the first round?
Man, I don't know. I always question why they signed Kendrick Perkins, the Cavaliers. They did it a few times.
I was going to say, this is 2 or 3 years in a row.
And the issue with the center position is that they're already shit with free throws. Like when they had Mozgov, he was decent with his free throws, but not great. Tristan Thompson can't hit free throws.
No.
And now they're getting Kendrick Perkins that can't hit free throws. So, like, they need big guys that can actually score as well too. So what's the point in having Kendrick Perkins out on the field?
But really, do you need a big man to score? Not really. When you have a LeBron James, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, you have scorers. You need what they've been lacking all regular season. Defense.
Yes.
You need defense.
But you can get, like, they could have got DeAndre Jordan, right? Like,
at the trade deadline, yes, fine, but that's contractual obligations.
yes.
Kendrick Perkins is a buy now, sell later type of deal.
Is Ante Zizic so bad that they have to play Kendrick Perkins?
Is Ante Zizic so good that he's even supposed to be in the NBA?
He just had 20 points yesterday.
Oh my god! In the last game of the season, and then what? They get blown out by the
Yeah,
Knicks.
They did. But LeBron only played 11 minutes. to be
Fair, yeah, and that is the exact reason why Zizic got 20 points. No one else was there to score the ball for them.
Well, Kendrick Perkins was playing.
Okay, I don't think Kendrick is going to benefit the Cavaliers. I don't think it's going to hurt them. I think it's more or less, I don't want to say like a pity sign, but hey, you might get a ring. Like, come with us for the 5, 6, 20 games that we might have. Well, actually 16 games that they're going to have left and get a ring. I think it's just respect.
I think another guy that did fairly well yesterday was Tristan Thompson. We'll get to him later.
Yeah, but we have more on Tristan Thompson for sure. But moving to the second signing here, this one actually irked me a little bit. The Ty Lawson getting signed to the Washington Wizards. Of course, they are getting some reinforcements on their guard play when they're going into the matchup against the Toronto Raptors. That, to me, just shows fear behind the Wizards and their bench against the Raptors bench.
Especially like when it's Ty Lawson who has so much off-court trouble.
Yes. Like, they are willing to take the I hate this term, but it's always a term passed around in sports circles, a locker room cancer. Ty Lawson is proven to be a good player, but the off-season drama, the in locker room scuffles and stuff, it's not worth the outcome on the court. Clearly, the Wizards don't care about his off-court situation purely because it's going to be something of the Kendrick Perkins variety, buy now, sell later. We don't care about the future. But it's something like that is just showing me that they don't think their bench can match up to the youth and the bench of the Raptors. I actually have to say, from a basketball point of view, I like the signing. It is going to help them, especially in the long run, especially with John Wall, who is still getting his legs. He has played a handful of games off of his injury, but how 100% is he? He could use a Ty Lawson to come off and help him off the bench a little bit.
And Bradley Beal has been playing a tremendous amount of minutes while John Wall is out.
Yep. So any guard help is a benefit. I know Otto Porter, Kelly Oubre, or whatever his name is, they can use a little bit of help on the wings as well, I think.
Nate Robinson is still on the market.
Nate Robinson is a commentator. He is... No.
All right, backing up to the Cavaliers a bit. Who was the guy that they signed last year that didn't get that many minutes? He used to be a Buck player. What's his name? Damn it. He had he lost his passion for basketball or something, and he decided to try to come back to the game, but he just couldn't
play.
Yeah, he just couldn't get back up to game speed. They had him in G League for a while.
In G League from the Bucks.
He used to be a Buck.
Yeah. No. No idea.
All right. Anyways,
we'll have to Google that one. We'll come back to you guys on that one for sure. But with these two late season pickups, they're not going to alter the championship percentage or the chances of a championship for these either two teams, but they are always something to talk about for sure. And us Raptor fans, keep your eye out for Lawson because he is a threat. He can score, he can defend, he is a heart on the court. We just have to make sure that he doesn't kill us like he does other teams.
Larry Sanders.
Okay, I did not know that they signed him last year, but I remember Larry Sanders.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like a depression, falling out of the league or something of that nature as well, mental health?
I think like he got into a couple like bar fights and stuff like that, and then something about mental health stuff. He just disappeared, and he decided it was finally time to come back because he wasn't even sure if he loved the sport of basketball anymore. Yeah. And he started doing some art and stuff, and now he's trying to get back.
Best of luck to you there, Larry. Like, we always wish the best. We'll see how that goes. But now let's jump into the Tristan Thompson juicy gossip. I know this is not really basketball related. I know I personally here don't really like talking about pulp culture outside of basketball on this podcast here. But this is so, I don't want to say funny, but this is so relevant that we have to talk about this.
I thought it was really funny because we just randomly brought it up in a previous podcast. And like, how surprised are you really? Because, you know, he already cheated on his former baby mama.
Yes. Like that's what gets me the most is the fact of, okay, first of all, I saw this quote on Facebook and I thought it was hilarious. I just died laughing. But like I saw Tristan Thompson, you have to be a little bit careful. Your Brampton showing. That is just on point of what this situation is. But the one thing that gets me is he had a girlfriend who was pregnant at the time that he left pretty much 9 months pregnant and started hooking up with Khloe Kardashian at the time and moved on from his then pregnant wife, girlfriend at the time.
Right.
To only get Khloe pregnant 9 months later, the exact same situation occurs.
Yeah.
Then again, we can't say the exact because he didn't leave Khloe for all we know as of yet. We don't know what that real situation is.
Right.
This news broke about maybe a week ago, not even. So we really don't know the full situation about that. But he cheats on his very pregnant girlfriend, wife, partner to go with some other women.
I think she literally had her baby like yesterday. Or
yes,
like
she went into labor yesterday or this early this morning. So she did have her baby.
Yeah.
Like Tristan Thompson, just Just give your head a shake. Like,
Man,
I
you must be an idiot. Like, how many 6'9" fools are out there? Like, you're gonna get caught.
you're going to get caught. And it's the fact of I did see rumors that it all spiraled from a most recent video going viral. And then now people of course said, "Oh, well now we're making a big deal about this." I have a video from a couple months ago of this. So then now they went from one video to I've seen 4 different videos,
Oh man,
different situations,
really?
different women.
I've only seen the one.
Of the one in the black and white one when
Yeah.
he's in the club.
Yeah,
I've seen that one. There's another one of him and another girl walking in and out of a hotel room in Cleveland. There were another one when he was at a party that was like it looked kind of sketchy of a picture. Like it was like the girl knew what she was doing. And then I saw a couple Snapchats from a different girl as well, saying that, well, now that all of this is coming out to light, I might as well say that I'm pregnant as well.
Oh shit!
So potentially there could be a third Thompson baby under the age of 1
Wow.
running around late next year. I mean,
Wow.
early next year. I don't even know what to say about that situation. Like,
This, honestly, it makes a little bit of sense because we clearly see where his priorities are right now, and they're not with the Cavaliers.
that's what happens when your minutes go from so high and your value to the team is so high to what it is now. Like,
But I think that was brought upon himself because
oh yeah, that's his game plan.
they needed him
Yeah.
as their starting 5.
Yep.
And because he was so shit last year in the playoffs, they're like, we're putting Kevin Love at the 5.
We need to find a new replacement. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is his fault.
You can't get out rebounded by a point guard.
No, fair, but it's still such a shame. Such a shame.
However, a lot of people are saying that this could potentially be breaking that Kardashian curse.
How? What do you mean?
If he gets rid of Khloe Kardashian,
Yeah.
he's breaking the Kardashian curse.
So he's getting away from the curse. I thought you meant this is gonna break the. This is just
He had a good game yesterday.
yeah. But then again, that's just minutes and experience and
Think about
opportunity.
this. The last time he cheated on his baby mama,
Yeah.
they won a championship.
Was that no? That was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Was this 2 years ago? The situation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, well, I don't even know. Like, this is just so ass backwards, Tristan. Like, I feel bad for you, especially going into playoffs with this kind of crap on your mind. How can you put this to the side and focus on your craft? If I'm Tyronn Lue, you're benched, bro. Like, get your shit in order before
That's
you come
why
on
they
my
signed
court.
Kendrick.
That is exactly why they signed Kendrick Perkins. It has to be.
God.
We just
They're
connected
that
the dots.
desperate.
There it is. We just figured out the exact reason why Cleveland signed Kendrick Perkins.
Oh my goodness.
But that's enough of Tristan Thompson garbage. Like, honestly, that just makes me just one last time, Tristan Thompson, give your head a shake. All of Canada is just really disappointed.
You're an idiot.
Like, just so silly. But moving on to some better basketball news here. We finally have the playoffs set in stone about who is playing who, when, where, whatnot. So coming out of the Eastern Conference, we have your Toronto Raptors locking up first in the East, first time in franchise history,
Yeah.
playing at home against the Washington Wizards. I don't know if you want to talk about the individual playoff matchups, if we want to just briefly talk about the 2 matchups there, give our takes on how many games, what would happen. I like this matchup. Out of the 3 potential teams that the Raptors had, the Bucks, the Heat, or the Wizards, I think the Wizards are a pretty good matchup for us.
Yeah, we already got the Heat. We already saw the Heat smash us yesterday.
Yes. That was a little bit disheartening, but last game of the season, no one really cared.
I think we cared.
Why?
We were trying to get that 60th win.
Yeah, not really, though. If you watch us the way that we were going into overtime, we didn't really care.
Lowry was balling out.
Okay, well, Larry always balls
Serge
out.
was a piece of shit, first of all. I blame him for my loss as well.
which disappoints me because Serge was playing so well in the last two and a half
Right?
weeks.
Right?
Like, it was really good ball. So I was like, yes, right before playoffs, Serge is back. We're going to get it. But then this game happens. It is one game. So let's not burn him at the stake yet. But it is concerning. But out of this game, out of this series here, Raptors, Wizards, what is your prediction? Raptors win, lose, and how many?
Oh, man. Honestly, The Raptors have been playing pretty bad recently
Yeah,
to end off the season.
fair.
Um, I want to be in full support of the Raps. I've been in full support of the Raps for the past few podcasts, and I want to continue doing it and continue doing so. I think they can beat the Wizards. It's going to be tough, though.
Really
I think it's going to be tough.
fair. Um, in my opinion, I think we're going to beat the Wizards as well. I think it might be a little bit tough. It's not going to be a sweep. I know all the Raptor fans are hoping for sweeps. I'm hoping for a sweep.
I think it's going to 6.
But that's what I was going to think as well. Like, I was hoping in 5 because I want to win on our home court, which I think is possible.
Mhm.
Because I think that's the only way that we're going to win is home court, because our home court is such an advantage for our season long, the whole season.
Right.
I'm hoping if we don't close in 5, it's probably going to go to 7. Purely because I don't see us snaking one win away on the road. If we can do that in game 3 or 4, we're golden to close it off in 5. For sure. If we don't win 3 or 4 on the road, it's going to 7. Unfortunately, it's just going to go for 7. So let's put it down on paper right now that it's going to go to 5 though. My prediction is Raps in 5. If not 5, definitely not 6. It's going to go to 7. Unfortunately.
I'm going to stick with my 6. And I think the biggest factor here is going to be pretty much what every NBA or Raptors fan says. It's us against the Wizards and the refs.
Yes. Hey, amen. But now that's usually the case of it. But now going in number 1 seed, second best team in the league, like league wide, how do we not get the respect from the refs anymore? Like yet. Like what else are we supposed to do? I'm hoping this is going to be the showing, the coming out party to the refs going, Toronto, here's your respect. You're the best team in the East. Let's coach you like it. Ref you like it.
I think the only way we're going to be able to earn that is making it to the Eastern Conference. Not even the Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals.
I was going to say, we went to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years
Yeah.
ago. We still haven't got love yet.
Yeah.
So
We have to beat
everybody.
the top.
Yeah,
in
we have
the
to beat
East.
everybody. So moving on to the second matchup in this Eastern Conference. Sorry. We have Boston Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks. In my opinion, this is going to be the best series of the first round, hands down. East, West, Boston Bucks is going to be a barn burner.
I think this is a 7-game series.
I think it has to be a 7-game series.
Yeah.
Even without Kyrie, even without Gordon Hayward, Boston still has a very good, young, healthy team. Well, not healthy, but very good, young, athletic team.
Right.
They have Rozier. They have Tatum. They have a handful of other people on the bench coming up as well. They have Horford's at leadership as well. Like, they were a good little squad without their 2 best players. On the other end of the spectrum, the Bucks are also a very good, scrappy team. They sort of did start falling off at the end of the season here. Understandable. It happens to every team as well. I still think this is not a cakewalk for either team. My opinion. I do think out of the 2, it's Bucks in 7.
I am gonna agree with you.
Yeah. On the road too. So like that means they're gonna have to steal a away game
Yes.
from the Garden.
And I think it's very possible. I think Giannis is just gonna turn it up.
That's
man.
what he's gonna have to do. But like Tatum, he is not as long as Giannis. He's not as tall as Giannis. He is as athletic as tall as of Giannis.
But the
Right.
question is, can they contain Giannis?
That's what it is. But like, if there was one player in the league other than LeBron James when he wants to play defense, Tatum could keep up with Giannis better than like any other real player in the league. Like maybe, like I'm trying to think, maybe Simmons, but Simmons doesn't even play defense. So no. LeBron when he wants to, and he's totally invested, he is the best defensive player in the league. Like when he wants to and he doesn't have to score, no one's going to beat him off the dribble. No one's going to beat him in the post. Like he is just a monster. So other than LeBron, like Tatum would be the next best fit other than like Kawhi and people like that, but I don't see it happening. So I don't see Giannis running away with this series as well as he did against the Raptors last year when they took us to 7.
Right.
But it's going to be a barn burner. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very, very fun series to watch.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it.
So moving on to the next one in the East, there we have the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Pacers. This is going to be, to me, a snooze fest. I think it's Cavs in 4, if not 4,
5
maybe. But
Yeah.
nah, it's going to be LeBron just kidding Victor Oladipo. Like, let's be serious. I think it's Cleveland in 4. What about you, Dan?
I'm gonna say Cleveland in 5 because I think there's gonna be at least one game where the rest of the team fails LeBron.
Fair.
But if anything, it's like the first round is the time to do it.
Yeah, it is. If there's any time to catch the Cavaliers sleeping, it would be in the first round when they're trying to fix their defensive problems. I know Ty Lue made an emphasis that defense is going to be fixed in playoffs. How long do you have to really fix your defensive organization? It's not very long.
Right.
So like you have to get it fixed quick.
But Kendrick Perkins,
Hey, he's the threatened side. Maybe.
MVP.
Defensive player of the year. Moving on to the last matchup in the first round of the East, it's the 76ers versus the Heat. I know you're very interested in this matchup. What's your predictions on this one?
Man, I want to make a prediction even further than the first round.
Well, okay.
I think the 76ers are a legitimate threat to the throne.
Okay, throne of the East or throne of the throne?
Throne of the East.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 76ers versus the Raps for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Very possible. It is a possibility, I do believe, because we would face the Cavaliers in the second round if we both get there. So yeah, so the only time we would see the 76ers would be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And that's also me saying that the Raps are going to beat the Cavs.
That as well. That as well. Okay, we can go with that. What's your game prediction in the 76ers game?
Oh, man. The 76ers have won 16 straight.
16 in a row.
That's the best the franchise has ever done. They've played really well against the Heat, but they don't have Joel Embiid.
For the first 3 games? 2 games?
I have no idea.
2 or
but
3?
I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to match up to Whiteside without Joel. But at the same time, the 76ers are shooting lights out from 3. Yeah. And Markelle Fultz is
triple-double,
youngest triple-double in history.
Yeah, 19 years and like 300 days or something.
That Lonzo record didn't stand for long. MVP? Oh no, Rookie of the Year?
Oh my. You gotta stop these hot takes.
I'm just kidding.
We're just airing at these hot takes coming for you.
But yeah, man, Markelle Fultz, watching him play, this guy is solid. I think he plays very similar to Ben Simmons in the fact that he can get to the lane and make quick decisions.
Yeah.
So this guy's...
It's going to be a good series. I think it's going to be 76ers in 6, maybe 5, but I'm going to go with 6 just because the Heat have a little bit more experience, purely because they went to the playoffs in the last couple times. Dwayne Wade's back. They're going to be resurged about that. Like you said, no Joel Embiid on the inside. Hassan's going to have a runaway games. But it all comes down to exactly the man that we were talking about here, Ben Simmons. Who is going to mark up Ben Simmons? James Johnson? Sure. Maybe for a shift or 2, but no one can mark up Ben Simmons on the Heat organization.
My call for this one is Sixers in 4.
In 4, we're going to get the sweep.
Yeah, they're going to sweep the Heat.
Hey, I'm gonna be about it, and we're going to watch it. So going over to the Western Conference here now with these 4 matchups, I think as a whole, these 4 matchups are going to be a little bit less entertaining than the first 4 that we were just talking about here, purely because they're like heads and shoulders better. Like the teams are better. 1 is way better than 8. Like 2 is way better than 7. Things of that nature. But we have the Rockets versus the Timberwolves. While we have the Timberwolves on the docket right now, we have to give a shout out to the April 11th game against the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. That was literally win or go home for the playoffs.
Right.
That atmosphere, that game battle was unbelievable to watch. Like, I loved watching that game from top to bottom. It was a barn burner. It did get a little bit out of hand for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They ran away with it on the Nuggets. The Nuggets battled all the way back, took it to overtime, and it went down to the wire. I know that you want to talk about something about that game there for you, Dan.
The biggest factor with the Minnesota Timberwolves that they haven't had recently is Jimmy Butler.
Buckets.
He changes their entire system.
Yes.
It's man, I honestly looking at the playoff matchups right now, I hate it because I don't want to see these teams get eliminated
So early. I agree. There are a couple of them that I'm just a little bit disappointed about, like the Timberwolves against the Rockets. Like, realistically, if they were facing anyone a part of the Rockets or the Warriors, they were going to
have
win.
A real chance to win.
Like they were going to win.
Yeah.
So it's just such a disappointment that they have to. The reward of beating a scrappy Nuggets team is, hey, you got the Rockets for 4 games. Go have fun. That's disappointing. Hey, they made it.
Yeah.
So people get playoff bonuses. People get a little bit more incentives and stuff.
I would have even liked to see them play Golden State, but not the Rockets.
Especially Golden State first round, because they're going to be missing Curry, Klay Thompson, and missing. They're going to be understaffed.
Yes.
So yes, that's a great shot for them. But realistically, Rockets, Timberwolves, round 1. What's your prediction? I'm saying Rockets in a mercy 5.
I agree. Rockets in 5 as well.
Like a mercy 5. They're gonna be battling, and then the Timberwolves are gonna want game 3 a lot more because it's their first home game.
Yeah.
But then game 4, the Rockets are gonna be like, okay, no, it's over, guys. So good for you guys. You got your playoff win at home. We're back.
Yeah.
The next matchup that we have here is the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Utah Jazz. This is going to be a low-key battle of a series. I don't think it's going to be as offensively entertaining as a spectator, but it's going to be a low-key battle, grind them out game.
Yeah.
Series there.
Firstly, shout out to the Utah Jazz.
Yep.
Who would have even thought they were going to make it to the playoffs, let alone 4th?
That deserves a slow clap for Donovan Mitchell. Like, just unbelievable.
Man, this is, and this is as well, like we mentioned, Rudy Gobert hasn't even played.
He's played a handful of games. He played less than 50 games this season.
Like, and he's supposed to be their primary offensive option.
Yep, and defensive option.
Yes. So, man, they're just playing really well. I think Rubio has really fit in well with this team. They play really fun basketball. Ingles is shooting lights out. I don't know, but
Millsap.
I think
He's on Denver. Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
I think their run is gonna run short against Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes. What are you thinking in the number of games?
I'm thinking 6 games.
6.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would put out 5 games. 5 games Oklahoma City, purely because they have Russell Westbrook, another triple-double season. Like, that's unbelievable. They have Paul George, who is just a playoff gunner. Like, if you remember 3 years ago when Paul George and the Indiana Pacers at that time took on the Raptors, we went to 7 games, and that was a barn burner. Mm-hmm. I think Paul George averaged 20-something, 25 points a game and just killed us. Like,
Paul George made his name in the playoffs against the Miami Heat.
So, like, he's a playoff killer. So it makes me a little nervous for the Jazz. Carmelo Anthony, you haven't really seen him much in playoffs because he's just been on garbage teams. But let's see what he can do. He is a scorer. He is a clutch scorer who makes his name in the NCAA tournament, which pressure can't get any higher than the NCAA tournament. It's 1 loss, you're out.
Yeah.
And he took his team as a freshman, the Syracuse Orangemen, to the title and won it. That, to me, shows closer, professional, pressure-filled, I got the clutch gene. I think he has it as well.
And I like how you mentioned that with Carmelo as well, too, because Carmelo, aside from Donovan Mitchell, are the only rookies to lead their team offensively
in points
and bring their team to the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's very true. So it's gonna be a good matchup. It's like the passing of the torch, like Carmelo Anthony going, I was the one rookie team building guy. Donovan, here's your torch. Like, let's see what you can do with it. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna go to 5 games, and then it's gonna get put out by Carmelo. But good for them. I think it's a good showing for the Jazz to be there, just to be in the dance.
Yeah,
just to be in the dance. The next matchup in the West, we have the Portland Trailblazers versus the lowly New Orleans Pelicans. Another going to be a good matchup, I believe.
Yeah.
I wish the Pelicans were full strength, because then it would have shown you the battle of the inside team versus the battle of the outside team,
Right.
with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum on the Portland Trailblazers side, and Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis on the inside for the Pelicans.
Mhm.
It would have been a yin and yang kind of game. Like, it would have been a battle. Unfortunately, as we know, DeMarcus has that injury a couple months ago. It's just Anthony Davis. I still give credit to the Pelicans with Rondo, Davis still making a run and still being decent in the playoffs. Like, a decent spot. Drew Holiday as well. Like, they're a decent spot in the playoffs. That's good for them.
I totally agree. I didn't think the Pelicans could make it this far, but
I thought they were going to drop out.
AD has carried them on his back.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally carrying the team on his back.
Single-handedly.
Like, it's ridiculous.
So, hey, keep it up. I think he can do it. But do I think he's going to beat the Blazers? No. I unfortunately don't think that's a chance. I don't think at all. I think this might be another Mercy 5 game. Like, just give him one game at home. But no, I'll put up 4. I'll put the Blazers sweeping 4.
Blazers sweeping 4?
Yeah.
Man, I just want to give them
like that
a
Mercy
little bit
game.
of hope.
Like, yeah, like, but
I'm gonna say Blazers in 6.
Blazers
I'm gonna give Pelicans 2.
Okay.
Because Anthony Davis is playing like he was 2 years ago. I mean, last year, if you drafted in fantasy first overall, shame.
Unfortunate.
But this year, he is putting that first pick fantasy draft type of
season together.
So
because the reason why I was going to give him a mercy win for a 5-game win by the Blazers was that you have to account for Anthony Davis going off for one of those 30-point games, 15 rebounds, give him like 7 or 8 assists, give him 4 or 5 blocks. Like, he's going to have one of those games in the playoffs. We know it.
Is this the first time he's been in the playoffs?
No, they were an 8th seed 2 years ago, I believe, in his rookie season.
I have a feeling that Anthony Davis can turn it up a little bit more. And I think, spoiler alert, Rondo's going to wake up.
Rondo has already woken up in the last couple of weeks. Like, the amount of times.
Playoff time.
And if you remember to the Boston Celtics run about, what, was it 2008, 2009 we were talking about? Rondo in the playoffs, he was a different human being. Different human being that we've never seen Rondo come back to since that time.
Yes.
Could this be the time?
Rondo.
I doubt it, but I would like to watch it. Let's see it, Dan. I'd like to see it. So I know that you said Blazers 6. I said Blazers in 4. Last matchup in the first round, we have those Golden State Warriors versus those San Antonio Spurs. Both teams are kind of banged up. Both teams going through transitions. This is going to be low-key of a battle as well.
This is the best possible situation for the Warriors.
It is. It honestly is. The only way they could have got better is if they played the T-Wolves. Not even the T-Wolves. The T-Wolves would have gunned them. If they played like the Jazz, still the Jazz would probably would have gunned them. Like,
it literally is just the Spurs. I think the Spurs are the only team that the Golden State Warriors could beat without Stephen Curry.
Yeah. Purely because they have no Kawhi Leonard for the whole season.
Right.
But like, if Kawhi came back when he was supposed to come back, they would have no chance. No chance. I would think the Warriors would have no chance.
Yeah.
But with Steve Kerr behind the bench, you can never count out the Warriors. And with the 3-point prowess like that the Warriors have, it's a 3-point game. Like, you hit a 3, the other team hits a 2, you come back hit another 3, you're up by 4. Like, you can't win that way.
The other X factor here as well is we know the Warriors have been playing pretty bad throughout the season.
Yep.
At least to their expectations. But I mean, that's the regular season. It's playoff time.
Yeah, this is the real deal. Yeah. But like, and who comes out to play in the real deal? The real stars. Kevin Durant. even without Steph Curry, him and Draymond Green
Draymond
could
is the
run
big
this
guy.
team. Like, those two players could run a team. Like, they don't need Steph. They don't need Clay. Yes, you would want Steph, and yes, you would want Clay
Right.
for the 3-point spacing. You really don't need it if these two come to ball, lights, days in, days out. Like,
Right.
I don't see why not. Warriors, Spurs, what's your game prediction?
I'm gonna say, man, I don't even want to say this, but it's gonna be Warriors in 4.
In 4.
In 4.
I'm giving them a mercy game. Like, Popovich is going to single-handedly win a game, I believe, with some strategies, shutting down Kevin Durant in the corners and whatnot. I would give the Warriors in 5. Warriors in 5. That would be my last prediction there. I'm more looking forward to the second round. These second-round matchups are going to be lights out, because that's when we're going to start weeding off some of these lower teams and get the real deal teams and the real playoff pushes.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone stays healthy through it. I know there's some teams with a couple scares here and there, but everyone relatively is going into playoffs like relatively healthy, other than the big injuries that we've known for months. Everyone's going into playoffs relatively healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So those will be the first round playoffs for the NBA here. Everyone tune into the Boston Milwaukee series. That's going to be the best one out of them all. Of course, you got to watch your Raptors in that series as well. It's going to be fun. And watch the Timberwolves. If you haven't watched too much Minnesota basketball, they're a great little team. Like Jeff Teague, Wiggins, Butler, Karl-Anthony Towns, Derrick Rose is coming back. He's resurging under Tim Thibodeau.
I'm telling you.
Tom Thibodeau, sorry. Like, he is coming back. Like,
You thought I was joking?
I do think I did think you were joking. I still think you're joking, but the eye test, he is looking decent. Time will tell. We'll have to see.
D Rose, man. Can't sleep on D Rose.
No, but watch some Timberwolves basketball. I watched the Nuggets game. That was a great game to watch. So let's move to the best part of the podcast here today. I know that we were all talking about the NBA awards that are coming out here. So I'll let you take the point on this one there, Dan.
Yeah, so the season is finally over. So we've been holding off on talking about this and making too many predictions.
Yep.
Wanted to wait till everything is wrapped up. So I guess we'll start with some of the stuff that we're not as interested first.
Yeah, let's do the
just
little
kind of
ones.
get some stuff out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
First one we're going to talk about is GM of the year.
So let's just get out the way the executive of the year here. I know not many fair weather NBA fans really care about the executive of the year. I want to throw it out here. The Houston Rockets. Yes, they were a good team last year. Yes, they are the best team this year. The reason behind that were the subtle moves that they did to even better their bench behind James Harden. Like the Chris Paul signing, the PJ Tucker signing, bringing in Joe Johnson off the bench as well. Like, just little moves like that don't really... Well, the Chris Paul one obviously shake up your team. But PJ Tucker, Joe Johnson, things like that doesn't really do much on paper. But knowing your bench depth is getting improved, your playoff percentages are getting improved, you are still running and gunning because that's the way that D'Antoni likes to play.
Right.
I think it just... What the GM did in Houston fits D'Antoni's system so perfectly. That is the reason why they got to number one. Not because of D'Antoni, not even necessarily because of James Harden. It's really the GM putting the pieces in the right places to make this 64, 65 game season wins for the Rockets. They got 60 something. So that's pretty impressive.
I want to throw somebody out there as well too.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name, but the 76ers GM before Colangelo.
Yeah, well before Colangelo. Picking up these last draft picks here.
Yeah, like, I guess they didn't trust his process. It clearly was working.
Clearly it was not working. No, I have to give props out to the 76ers as well. They had a heck of an organizational shift. They changed their mantra. They went from like run and gun to big ball, and they started to slow it down a little bit with tons of turnovers. So it was a good switch from the GMs as well. Another one that I want to look at as well was the Jazz organization. Picking up some key places, picking up that Donovan Mitchell draft pick. Like, I would never have made that pick. But look at Donovan Mitchell now. You're an idiot if you didn't.
Trey Crowder, Ricky Rubio.
Like, big moves, big moves. But my hat would have to go to the Rockets. But moving on to a couple of more of the more important awards here.
Yep. So one of the things that I think a lot of people have been talking kind of throughout the year, sixth man of the year.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
That one.
So before you even say anything, I'm gonna throw some names that I have here. Okay.
Okay.
These are among the lists that people have been kind of talking about.
Yep.
We have the one that everyone's been talking about, Lou Williams. We have the other guy that I guess these two guys have been in the conversation for the past like three
decades. Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon.
Okay. Yep.
And then the last guy that people have kind of snuck under the radar is Fred VanVleet.
Thank you for answering my question. Were you going to give him love? I love the conversation that Fred VanVleet is in. Do I think he deserves it? Yes. Do I think he's going to get it? No.
No.
Not even close. Like he's going to be, if he is top 5, he's going to be 5. Purely because they don't give us love for the Raptors organization. But realistically, his season this year is a 6th man of the year kind of a season. Like he is balling out of control. Right. He is scoring. He is playing defense. He's assisting. He is an all around. He makes our bench mob go.
Right.
He is the reason why our bench is the best bench in the league.
The biggest difference here between himself and Eric Gordon and Lou Will is that Eric Gordon and Lou Will are putting up starters like numbers.
That's what it is. But then again, that's because of team necessity.
Right.
Like VanVleet played a lot in the fourth quarter for us because we needed him to.
Along with Kyle Lowry.
Exactly, because no DeLon Wright for a lot of the season.
And he was also, I think, the best 3-point shooter on our team.
Yes, and he actually led our team in fourth quarter scoring as well. Purely because of the Raptors' overall team being so good, he got the majority of the minutes in the fourth quarter, resting DeMar and Kyle, which was beneficial for us.
And it seems like even in the fourth quarter, he was able to overcome pressure.
Yep.
He played with a lot of confidence, except maybe that one time he high-fived LeBron James. But otherwise, he's
a guy to watch. He is. So I like that we're talking about him at the end of the season here. I don't think he's gonna win. My winner is Lou Williams. If anyone wants to debate about it, it doesn't count. I'm sorry, it just doesn't count because Lou Williams is one of 3 players in NBA history to lead his team in points and assists and minutes off the bench. Can you even be called a 6th man if you are leading your team in those 3 stats?
Not to mention, he was in the talks for All-Star.
Yes, and he was in the talks for all NBA teams. Can you even be considered a 6th man of the year when you lead your team in points and in shooting and in assists and in no, right. You're a starter. You're not just the starter. You're the best player on the team. So to me, I don't think he should be 6th man of the year. He should be. I don't even know. I was gonna say most improved, but not really, because this is not a dramatic improvement of his seasons. This is what Lou does.
That's what he does.
This is what he does. It's just the fact of
opportunity.
Exactly. And the minutes coming for the Clippers with Chris Paul moving out, Blake Griffin moving out. Yeah. They had to find someone to put the ball in the rim, and it was Lou Williams, who has done it with the Raptors, who has done it with other teams. So to me, he is not 6th man of the year. He deserves an award. It shouldn't be called 6th man. It should be best person that doesn't start every game. Because he's not really a 6th man. He is a starter who just sits for the first 4.5, 5 minutes and then comes and plays the rest of the game. But by the letter of the law, he is a 6th man and he is going to win. Right. That's why I think everyone else's debates are irrelevant, because he dominates.
Yeah.
He dominates.
Definitely.
So,
all right, next on the list we have Defensive Player of the Year.
This is another one that was somewhat slidey. I don't really care about the Defensive Player of the Year this year, because it's really not.
So here's some names that people are throwing out there. We have Rudy Gobert. A lot of people mention him. We have Anthony Davis. And also, don't forget Joel Embiid.
It is very true. I did not forget Joel Embiid. I also want to throw out an honorable mention for Draymond Green. He always should be in talks for Defensive Player of the Year, even though he had an injury-riddled season this year. But that guy can do rebounds, steals, blocks. Like, he does it all. Like,
Kevin
he's just
Durant
good.
started off the season pretty strong.
He did.
Fizzled out.
Then again, when you need to put the ball in the net, with Steph Curry having so many injuries this year,
Right.
with Draymond Green out for so many games this year, like, he had to put the ball in the net. So he can focus on defense. Honorable mention to Draymond Green as well. I know a lot of people want to give it to Rudy Gobert because his impact to his, not alone his team, but like the whole game when he's on the court is dramatic.
Yeah.
But can you give a season award to a guy that's played less than half of the season? I don't think so. So that's why my Defensive Player of the Year award would have to go to Anthony Davis, the Brow. Purely, he led the league in blocks this year with 2.6, I believe, or 2.4, something like that.
2.6, something
Like that. To me, that just shows defensive paralysis, especially with DeMarcus Cousins sitting down on the injury reserve there for a while,
right?
And still made their team better. To me, that just shows a great player. So yeah, he did lead the league in blocks at 2.6 this year. So with just that stat alone, I think he can win Defensive Player of the Year from a relatively weak defensive season this year as a whole for the NBA. You gotta give it to Anthony Davis. I believe this could be one of many that he deserves to win.
One of the reasons why Joel Embiid is in the discussion is because when it comes to his one-on-one defense, he is leading the league in, I guess, what is it called? Like keeping their field goal percentage down.
I think it was the
paint.
player efficiency
efficiency
rating.
Yeah.
In the paint, and for big men, he is the best defensive against other big men's efficiency ratings.
Right.
I get that. Yet again, he played more games than he did ever, granted, but he didn't play the whole season. He didn't play majority. Like, he played majority of the season this year. That's a good thing. But like, I don't know if you can give it to someone that's been injured a lot. So that's why I believe it's Anthony Davis. I gotta give a clap to Joel Embiid because I knew my big thing with him this season. Let him play 40, 50 games and come and talk to me.
Right.
He's played 40 to 50 games and he's talking to me. Like, he's balling. So good for you, Joel.
And the scary part is, I honestly think he hasn't reached his potential.
Oh,
yet.
definitely not. He's still, 25? Not even?
And he's still fairly raw when you look at his skill set.
And he came to basketball very late.
Yes.
So, like, he is still a novice. Like, he hasn't been playing for more than 10 years of basketball. I've played basketball more than 10 years, and I'm not nowhere good. So, give that guy some time. He's going to be good. So,
solid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next on the list, we have most improved player.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a list of guys over here as well too. I'm gonna throw out a bigger list here. This is the biggest list I got.
Most improved is a big list this year.
So right at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of talk about Clint Capella.
Yep.
Not so much more talk about him throughout the later end of the season, but we also had Pascal Siakam, another Raptor.
I've never heard that rumor before. Like, he was in talk. Never heard it. Good for him. Good. Yay.
He was pretty much invisible last year.
True, and he is a part of the bench mob this year. So
right.
I agree.
Andre Drummond, he's leading the league in rebounds this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did 16 something.
Still putting up good numbers in steals and rebounds. He does both. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things that he's improved, which everyone has been shitting on him throughout his entire career on, was his free throw percentage, bringing up from 30% up to 60% this year.
From that side alone, I think he should win most improved from that side alone, because like, it's such a bad thing when a big man can't shoot foul shots. The fact that he put the work into it shows that he improved. Like, just that side alone.
Just throwing this out there as well too, I got a lot of hate for picking Drummond over DeAndre this year in some of my fantasy leagues, and that was the thing I said, dude, the guy's gonna hit free throws this year.
I want to see that podcast where that was said there, because I don't believe that. Because I would never bet that Drummond was going to start hitting foul shots.
If I could find the chat log from the draft night, dude, I would show you.
Huh? So that was a pretty big list. There's still some names on that list. There has to be.
Yep, we got Spencer Dinwiddie.
Good. Yep.
Lots of talk about him leading up to the All-Star weekend.
Yep.
kind of faded out a little bit once D'Angelo came back.
Yeah, and I was gonna say because of the Nets.
Um, another guy that people kind of talked about, but I'm not really sure about this one, even though he's one of ours as well. DeMar DeRozan.
No, you can't give that to him. I'm sorry. Most improved, no.
I think the argument here is that he worked on a 3-point game.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make a statement with passing this year,
and he did.
He did.
Yeah.
But aside from that, he's still DeMar.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into that one. Yes, he got better. He improved to be most improved in the season. No, because he was
But it
still
wasn't game changing. It wasn't like holy shit, who is this guy?
He went from All NBA second team to All NBA first team. That's not an improvement. Let's get it real.
And the final guy here, which I think most of us are gonna win this, Victor Oladipo.
Thank you. You said the name I was waiting for you to say. So I know that is that all off your list right now?
Well, Markelle Fultz.
Oh my god. I guess you could say most improved jump shot. I'll give you that. But with the most improved award, I'm glad you left Victor for last. Before we get into Victor's bid for most improved, I want to talk a little bit about Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he, halfway through the season, had it sewn up in the bag. It's unfortunate that D'Angelo Russell came back and sort of took away the limelight. The only reason why Dinwiddie was even in that conversation was, one, the injury to D'Angelo and the injury to Jeremy Lin.
Yes.
People are forgetting Jeremy Lin got injured in like the first month for the rest of the season.
Right.
Like, those are your two guards on the Nets that both got injured significantly early in the season. So you had to find someone out of nowhere to fill in the role. Spencer Dinwiddie did it admirably. Like, he was great. He did it like solid. I loved it. Unfortunately, he fell off in the rest of the season here. And really, it's Victor Oladipo's award to lose. One, because of opportunity, because now he's getting all the limelight like he had in Orlando. But the bad thing with Orlando, he didn't have pieces around him. He was the whole team. But now in Indiana, he has a couple pieces around him, Miles Turner, things like that nature. So he has pieces around him, so that would bring him up to his full potential. But now I think with this system that he has, he's at his full potential, and he has made a significant improvement, especially coming from the Thunder where he came last year, where he just was underperforming behind Russell Westbrook, of course. Like, that's understandable. But now with opportunity, drive, first one in the gym, last one to leave, it shows that he's most improved. One thing before we go to the next award there that you left off the list.
Yeah, I have two guys that I want to
talk about for most improved.
Yeah, some two honorable mentions. I don't know if I got this.
I think you did. I'll let you go in first.
Okay, so one guy I want to honorable mention is Aaron Gordon.
Yep.
He started off the season really strong, kind of fizzled out at the end as well too. But he definitely worked on a 3-point game,
and especially after the injury as well.
Right, and one of the big things that I think we kind of mentioned it in previous podcasts was the mental health thing. Him hiring a sports psychologist to help him get through it, and like, he's an athletic freak of nature. Had injury unfortunately, but hopefully we'll see him next year. Maybe he could win it next year.
Okay, very well could.
The second guy, I don't even know if it's the right guy because like you started saying it, but I don't know if it is. But I was gonna mention Julius Randle. Okay,
I didn't really think about Julius Randle either. He had a hell of but the thing with Julius Randle, he had a hell of a last 2 months.
Right.
Out of a 6-month season, he had a hell of a third of it.
Right.
For season overall,
it's the same argument that we have for some of these guys who started off and fizzled out.
Exactly. That would be my thing with Julius Randle. But I would like to put his hat in the ring for next year for most improved if he can sustain this improvement.
Right.
That's the one main thing, is sustained success.
Yeah.
But my honorable mention for most improved, which some people are going to look at me and be like, what, really? It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. His numbers from last year only got more well-rounded this year. Percentages have gone up. Field goal percentages have gone up. Shooting efficiency has gone up. Points, rebounds, steals. Every category went up higher. It's just a shame that last year his numbers put him on the short list of MVP.
Right.
Like, he was top 10, 15 of MVP talks. He only got better from last year. But now he's not in the MVP talk. Now he's not in the most improved talk. He's not talked about at all, which surprises me because
He's caught in the
He's in the middle.
middle.
He's in the limbo. He's not good enough to win MVP,
Yeah.
but he wasn't shit enough to be most improved.
Right.
So he's in that unfortunate situation. So like that's why I know he's not going to win most improved, but he deserves an honorable mention. If he doesn't get one for MVP, he deserves one for most improved.
Right.
Purely because he got better. He got significantly better. So it's I'm probably feeling it's the same people that I've talked about DeMar. Like yes, DeMar's numbers got better.
Mm-hmm.
But he was already so good. So can you say
Right.
that's the most improved? Not really. Like a most improved was what James Johnson did the year he left Toronto and went to Miami.
Right.
He went from 10th to 11th man off the bench to 6th man off the bench for Miami. Like that's a huge improvement.
Absolutely.
Going from one option on Toronto to one option on Toronto, that's not an improvement. One option on Milwaukee to one option on Milwaukee, it's not an improvement. So that's why I think those guys are in unfortunate situations. But Giannis, you had a hell of a season this year, better season than last year. Your improvements were great. Unfortunately, not the best improvement, but it was still improvements that were made.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so getting into the really, really good stuff
The
this
top
year.
three awards
Top
by
three awards.
my records.
Same. First one we'll talk about is Coach of the Year.
Yes.
So a couple of names I'm gonna throw out there first. The two that are most talked about. One is Quinn Snyder,
Yep. With Utah.
Utah Jazz.
Yep. They had a hell of a season, but we were talking about earlier.
Yep. Second guy that we've been talking about all
Yep.
season long, Dwayne Casey.
Yep.
And two guys, one guy that a lot of people have been talking about just because of their situation, Kyrie out, Gordon out, Brad Stevens being able to do what he does with
Yep.
the
Two rookies. like
with the people
squad
that
of
they've
rookies.
got.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the final guy that I don't think gets enough credit here is 76ers coach Brett Brown.
Mm. You and your 76er love. Like, goddamn. I get. Let's knock off the some of the no-win ones quickly. The Utah Jazz. Applaud to the Utah Jazz. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. Who the hell would have put Utah Jazz 4th or 5th in the West at the start of the season?
Right.
I hell of a hell not. Like, no way. Not even close.
And that's the exact same thing where we have with Brett Brown.
It is. It is very true. But not as low for the Jazz. Well, like the 76ers were higher than the Jazz
Yes.
purely because the potential.
We expected the 76ers to make it to the playoffs. We didn't expect them to finish
Third. Yeah, that's huge.
ahead of the Cavaliers.
So, like, that's what it is. Like, we expected their potential to be there. We knew they were going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 spot in the East, maybe 10. It's a weaker conference as well. So we knew the potential was there if they could stay healthy. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, they didn't know Markel Fultz was going to go out like that. But like just like that in the core, the nucleus, they had a process that's been going for 3 to 4 years. You got to trust the process.
I said last year if Ben Simmons came back early, they would have made the playoffs last year.
Yes, so like that's why it's not as big of a shock to me for the 76ers. Same situation with the Jazz. They had a really good run, so yes, they should be coach of the they could make a bid for coach of the year. But they didn't overhaul their team philosophy as much as the two front runners did in Brad Stevens and Dwayne Casey. Mm-hmm. Last year, Brad Stevens' fourth quarter strategy, give the ball to IT, everyone clear out, and let them go to work.
Yeah.
When you lose IT, that system doesn't work anymore. You actually have to put marker to whiteboard and draw up a play for Kyrie to find somebody. Doing that and overhauling your team with two rookies that were playing significant minutes on their team.
They're starters.
Yeah.
Well, at least Tatum
Well, now
is.
they are because now Rozier had to start because of Kyrie's out.
Right.
But Tatum always started there. Jaylen Brown always started as well for a while. Like with a young team like that and rookies, injuries, like Gordon Hayward played 2.5 minutes, maybe 3. Like,
6. He played 6.
Like what? With that shock to your body, like that's just unbelievable. To dust them off with all the injuries, the people coming in and out of the locker room, dust them off, look your guys in the eye and go, we are still making a run for first in the East, is unbelievable. To me, I give credit to Brad Stevens for not folding up shop and just saying, let's tank, we'll get him next year.
Mm-hmm.
I applaud him for that.
Yes. Extremely surprising. Like when the Gordon Hayward injury happened,
Yep. And
almost everyone, like, find me one person that said the Boston Celtics still got this.
exactly. And especially after the Gordon Hayward injury and the first injury to Kyrie Irving when he missed, like, I think it was like 7 or 8 games like that early in the season, to look me in the eye and say they're still going to be first in the East going into the All-Star break, I would have laughed and laughed and just never stopped laughing. But hell, they did it.
They did it.
So that's why Brad Stevens gets my second place coach of the year. I know this is going to be very home bias there, but the coach of the year, hands down, is Dwayne Casey. It has to be Dwayne Casey. He's going to get another coach of the year award for the Raptors organization. 1, franchise record in wins. 2, best home record in the season. 3, he totally changed our philosophy, like what Brad Stevens had to do, but just to a bigger extent.
To a bigger extent. We went from ISO ball,
ISO,
to
Kion,
team
and
ball.
DeMar to bench mob. like that is the craziest. Like our assist. I remember hearing a stat, we were averaging like 16 assists a game or something stupid low that last year, and we brought it up to like the 3rd or 4th best in the league.
I think we're top 5 in both offensive and defensive
Of
ratings.
stats. So it's like that change on the team was huge. Not let alone the roster change. Yes, we kept the nucleus the same. We have the Kyle DeMar, we have Ibaka, we have Jonas. We brought in CJ. We brought in a rookie Fred VanVleet. We brought in Portal. Delon Wright was injured the whole season. Pascal Siakam got a hell of a lot better. We've even got Bay who played a hell of a lot better. Norman Powell. We've had G League players come in and out of the lineup all year and still played constant minutes and still helped us get better as a team.
Yeah.
He convinced 2 All-Stars to take a lesser role for the greater good, with reducing their minutes, convincing DeMar, you're not playing 34, 36 minutes a game anymore. We're going to bring you down to 26, 27. Okay, coach, let's do it. How many 3-year-in-a-row All-Star players would do that for the greater good?
Right.
It takes a good coach to convince them, to show them the benefit of it, and actually said, let's give these young bloods a run and see what they can do. Not only did they give them a run, they ran. They did it.
And people forget that Toronto is one of the best cities in terms of developing players. Yeah. And this is exactly what you guys can finally see when you guys are watching this.
Masai keeps it all in-house.
It's crazy.
All in-house.
It's crazy good.
I have to say, like, it's not only the coach of the year, but like Masai purchasing that 905 Raptor team and bringing a G League team to Toronto is the reason why we have such good farm systems now. Like with the 905s, they won the championship last year. They lost in the finals this year, unfortunately, in 2 games. But like, just knowing that our farm system is in good hands, Raptors are going to be a good team for years to come, hopefully.
Absolutely.
So that reason right there is why Dwayne Casey should be coach of the year. I think anything other than Dwayne Casey would be a letdown, unless it's Brad Stevens that's only 1 step down. Anything other than those 2, it's rigged.
I'm giving it to Dwayne Casey for sure.
It's got to be Dwayne Casey. If not Dwayne, I will be upset, but I would understand if it's Brad Stevens. Anybody else, it's not possible. It's not fair. It's not real.
All right, so moving into one of the most controversial, probably the most controversial,
the back and forth. It's a short list. It's not even. It's not even more than. I would give 3 players to this award.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
So before we even get to the top 3, I only have 2 listed down.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's only 2. It's only 2.
But let's give out some honorable mentions to some rookies. Okay, we had Jason Tatum.
Yes, that was my 3. That was my 3rd one that I was going to put in the
He's
bottom.
definitely been solid.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire year. Doesn't like you can't you look at him and you're like, that guy's not a rookie.
No, exactly.
But has he had such a breakout year as some of the other guys?
That's what it is.
Right? So no. So
that's why he was my 3.
He's gonna fall short.
He's my outside looking in for the top 2.
We had other guys that were in the discussion at the beginning of the year. Lonzo Ball.
He fell out in like mid-November.
I called it right from the beginning.
Yeah,
Lonzo Ball ain't shit.
yeah, it's fair.
We got Kyle Kuzma.
Yep, he had a good start, but he fizzled out.
Yeah, he's here and there.
Yep.
He shows up and disappears. Jetty Osman.
Really? That's a bullcrap one.
I think Jetty Osman played really well as a rookie.
Yeah, I think he played really well as well, but Rookie of the Year
No.
conversation.
Just honorable mention.
Yeah, still, but no.
Yeah, he's not even close to
Yeah,
the
no,
conversation.
No.
That's more or less it in terms of rookies. Like De'Aaron Fox didn't really do shit.
What about Dennis Smith?
Jr.
Yeah,
Kind of.
I would put him over Osman.
Oh, for sure.
But so he's more conversationable than Osman. But fair. But let's get to the two heavy hitters. It's only two that you can really debate about.
Yes.
That you can have a real debate about.
So we have Donovan Mitchell and we have Ben Simmons.
That's the only two you can really talk about.
Okay, so before we even get into discussing these two, I just want to give you some back and forth, the drama.
Yep.
Before we make a final decision on who should win it. Okay, so first, obviously, there's a whole discussion we've had at the beginning of the year of, does Ben Simmons deserve Rookie of the Year? Is he really a rookie? So, in addition to that,
wardrobes.
Yes, Donovan Mitchell
I've seen that.
wears a sweater with the definition of rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the same page. Is Ben Simmons technically a rookie? He doesn't feel like it.
And I know I'm a big adamant and I'm a big activist for this. Ben Simmons is not an NBA rookie. He should not be a rookie. If you were getting paid from an NBA organization for being a player, injured or not, you are employed from the organization as a player. That can't make you a rookie when you're actually playing. Like it doesn't work.
And that's exactly Donovan Mitchell's thing as well too. He said the example of, let's just say you have an exam to take June 1st and you have a whole year to study for that exam. Obviously, the person who has that full year is going to probably have a better grade for it.
Yes, it is.
Now, Ben Simmons' clapback is, if his argument is that I'm not a rookie, I'm in pretty good shape for a Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty true. It's if that is the only thing that you can say is that you're not really a rookie, so you shouldn't win it. You pretty much already won it because like your numbers are making everyone scared.
Now, to add to that, I think a lot of people are still leaning towards Ben Simmons as a Rookie of the Year.
I am.
He's had more triple doubles than any other rookie in NBA history. He's crazy. Like
leading his team in like a lot more areas. Like
led his team to third in the East.
Yep. 16-game win streak.
At the same time, Donovan Mitchell hasn't done too poorly of a job either. They're two different players. One's
Different
a scorer.
Skills. Yep.
One's
facilitate.
He's a triple threat.
Yep.
But Donovan Mitchell, he's now the league leader in the most 3-pointers a rookie has ever made, 186 plus.
Yeah, and he's above Damian Lillard and Steph Curry in their rookie seasons, which is great company to have.
He plays a really, really good, efficient game. Mm-hmm. He doesn't take bad shots, and he is the offensive option on his team, like we've mentioned. And he's led his team all the way to the playoffs and placed fourth on a harder West conference.
And he had a nice winning streak himself. They had an 18-game winning streak. The Jazz had a huge winning streak as well.
They did have a big winning streak. I don't know how far.
I think it was like 13 or 14 actually, or something.
Maybe
like
11
that.
or something.
Yeah, something like that. It was double digits, but still very impressive. Like, I don't even know how to have this debate. Really, just from gut feelings, I feel like it's going to be Ben Simmons. I think it should be Donovan Mitchell. By pure importance to team, Donovan Mitchell is way more important to the Jazz organization than Ben Simmons is to the 76ers for this year. For long term, granted, Ben Simmons is way more important to the 76ers growth 4, 5, 6 years down the line than what Donovan Mitchell is, because with Donovan Mitchell, he's one of those guys that will give you a splash in the pan for a season. Might fall off next season and come back the following season. He needs pieces around him. But for strict importance, if Ben Simmons had an injury this season, the 76ers would still be somewhat competitive in the Eastern Conference. if Donovan Mitchell went down for the Jazz, they would not even be relevant of anything. Like they would be like battling the Clippers and the Lakers of old. So that's why I think Rookie of the Year is the most important rookie to their squad, and it has to be Donovan Mitchell. Has to be Donovan Mitchell. What I think the analysts and the so-called professionals would give, it's Ben Simmons just by the numbers, like the gaudy triple-double numbers.
Yeah. And you know me, I love Ben Simmons. I was a big supporter of him. I bought his jersey before he broke his foot.
He's not a rookie though.
But I'm also the guy that on our very first podcast episode, the one who advocated for Donovan Mitchell, saying that he is a legitimate threat to the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were talking about guys like Lonzo Ball and Jason Tatum, man.
Yeah.
You guys laughed at me.
I did. I totally did, because who would have thought that Donovan Mitchell on the Utah Jazz was going to lead his team in scoring?
Right.
I did not. I'm sure the Utah Jazz coach did not, Quinn Snyder. I'm sure the Utah Jazz owner did not. But would they take it? Hell yeah, they would.
Yes. And just based on that and all the things that you said as well too, if they don't split the Rookie of the Year award,
Ew.
I want to give it to Donovan Mitchell.
Can you do that?
I hope
Split?
not.
I was gonna say.
I hope not.
Can you split a
The
Rookie
only
of the
time
Year
we've ever
award?
seen anything is split was like All-Star MVP.
Yeah,
But
I can get behind that.
yeah,
But
but
they can't split up.
You can't split it. Award.
No, that just.
But
grossed
both of
me
them
out.
deserve the hell out of it.
Fair. They really do. That's the reason why I think they should give it to Donovan Mitchell, because realistically, Ben Simmons had 2 shots at it. He had 2 shots at it. His shot was last year. Of course, he had an injury. No one likes injuries. But that's a part of the game. Like, so what if we go? So now Gordon Hayward had an injury. If he comes back next year, has an MVP caliber season, we're going to give him the 2017 MVP because he didn't have a shot last year? No, that's you don't go back. It's not fair. You don't wish it on anybody, but you always have to move forward. You had your shot. You're only a rookie once. Your rookie season was washed out by injury. I'm sorry.
Well, same thing with
Joel-
Blake Griffin too, right?
Yes. I was still in the same boat. Blake Griffin should not have won the MVP, Rookie of the Year. Same with Joel Embiid, should not have been in the conversation as well. You had a shot. You got injured. You don't play anymore. So that's like you coming to me. If Greg Oden never played after his big season, like after those pitiful seasons, he comes back 6 years later, has an amazing season. We're gonna give Greg Oden the Rookie of the Year? No.
But the argument is that Greg Oden at least played games in the NBA, whereas Ben Simmons never played a single game. So that's where most people are arguing.
So if Markelle Fultz didn't come back for these last couple games, comes back next year. So not even that.
I don't
Since
think
he did come
would
back,
be in the discussion.
why? But I mean, even if he did
If
come back
next
to this
year.
one next year, why wouldn't he not be a Rookie of the Year candidate next year? Because he played 2 games this season, 5 games, 6 games.
Technically, yes. I think that would be the reason why they would not call him a rookie.
So where do you draw the line? Because like Simmons' injury was in the regular season, in the preseason.
Preseason, yeah.
Fine, but like it's 1 second of NBA regular season.
Right.
If you play 1 second of NBA regular season, get injured in the 6th minute like Gordon Hayward, he would not be able to be Rookie of the Year next year because he only played 6.5 minutes.
It's a good question. Where do they draw the
Where
line?
do you draw the line? Because like if this was Gordon Hayward's Rookie of the Year season, he got injured, comes back, and he has a great season, would he be rookie? See, that's bull crap. So no, that's why you sign a contract. You are a rookie of the league. You get injured, you're out. Because you still get to go to the press conferences, the game films. You get scouting reports given to you. Even though you're not playing, you get to read it, and you get to get better for next year when you are back. Donovan Mitchell didn't get that advantage. He didn't get scouting reports in college. Ben Simmons got scouting reports last year when he was not an NBA player, a rookie,
Right.
a college player, because he's not an NBA player. So it's an unfair advantage. He got, like, using Donovan Mitchell's test analogy, he got the textbook for the game
Right.
before he enrolled in the class.
Mhm.
Of course, if you're going to get the textbook before you enrolled in the class, you're going to have a head up on everyone else that just bought your textbook.
Right.
It's not fair. So that's why, to me, it should be Donovan Mitchell, no questions asked. But I think it's going to be given to Ben Simmons.
What I want to see is I do want to see Donovan Mitchell win it. I think between the two, I feel like Donovan Mitchell is the type of person that's going to be humble. He seems like the type of person that's going to have a solid career, and he's going to be somebody who's going to continue working on his game. He's not going to be one of those young guys that made it to the league and be like,
And take
I
it
made
and rock
it,
it,
you know?
and take it and sit down.
Right. I don't think Ben Simmons would be the same way as well, too.
No.
But Ben Simmons not winning it, having been snubbed for All-Star, he feels, and then getting snubbed again for Rookie of the Year, I think that would light a fire under his ass so hard, and he can come back and literally dominate the next 10 years
And that's
of the NBA.
and it's very possible.
And I want to see that.
But very possible, and I think he should do that as well. But Ben Simmons, you can't have your cake and eat it too. No rookies make the All-Star team. If you want Rookie of the Year,
Like
you
Griffin.
But like, no, he didn't make. See, he made the
He
All-Star
did.
team the second year, and he
Yeah.
still won Rookie of the Year that year.
Yeah.
That's so bullshit. Like, that's not fair. Rookies don't make the All-Star team, so you can't get snubbed if you're, oh, I'm a rookie, I want Rookie of the Year. Oh, why didn't you get me in the All-Star game? That's having your cake and eating it too. That's bullshit.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Like, Ben Simmons, you're gonna win. I don't think you're going to win. It's gonna be an asterisk. Donovan Mitchell, you should have won it. You should have won it, hands down.
All right.
Let's move to the biggest award of the season.
All right. So the biggest award of the season, most valuable player. So before we get into it, how many people do you have in mind, really?
Realistically, to have a conversation about is three, maybe four.
Okay. So I'm going to throw in maybe two other guys out
Okay.
there. Some people have been throwing out the name of Anthony Davis.
Yep, fine. I'll
Again,
take it.
Like we said, he's putting up ridiculous
numbers.
numbers, carrying his team on his back. And this
Take
is
it.
the same kind of season he had like about 2 years ago when
Yep.
made everyone pick him first last year. Fantasy basketball,
Take
basically.
it.
Another guy that has been in the discussion for most valuable player, I don't necessarily agree that he should be discussed about. Raptors fans might hate me about this, but DeMar DeRozan. A lot of people talked about DeMar DeRozan being in the discussion for MVP.
I'll take it as well. I'll take it. Don't believe in it. I don't buy into the hype.
I mean,
he is very important to the team, but he's not the most important.
I love that he is being recognized
Me too.
as an MVP caliber player,
Me too.
but I realistically don't think he is.
No, not this year. Not this
Not
year.
this year,
Not
at
from his
least.
importance of this team, the way that our team is made up.
Mm.
Like, if we had this success last year with the system that we ran last year, then
With
yes,
ISO ball?
exactly.
Yes.
Then yes, he would be the most important. But with our team, we play 15 men deep. Like, we have Malcolm Miller, Lonzo Brown, and Alfonso McKinney coming off the bench as well to add to our 12-man roster.
Right.
So we are 15 men deep. Like, you can't pick out one guy from a team game.
Exactly. And remember, this is the most valuable player award.
Not
Not like
not best player from best team.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I
exactly.
mean? So it's the most valuable player. So I would take the DeMar nomination. I'm not feeding into it.
Okay, so the three main guys we're
Yep.
gonna talk about, basically, it's almost the same as last year. The only difference here is that Kawhi Leonard's not in the discussion,
Fair.
and replacing him is probably the fourth place guy last year, LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
So we have LeBron James, James Harden, Russell Westbrook.
Hands down. Those are generally, LeBron James is a perennial, every single time MVP candidate, like, for the last, 16 years?
He feels like he should have won 8 of the last 10.
And he has a case for it. But you can't, like, being an NBA organization, like a company, you can't give out the best award to one guy for a decade. No one else is going to want to play anymore. So, like, LeBron, I understand where you're coming from. I agree with it as well. But, like, can you imagine if every single music award goes to one guy? Like, the best pop album, like a best rap album goes to Drake every
Right.
single year. Who's going to want to make an album anymore? If the best Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't give out the best award to one person for a decade, even though they're the best. Like, yes, Michael Jordan was the greatest player of a generation. He didn't win MVP every single goddamn year.
Mhm.
You just can't do that. You have to give credit to where credit is due. And credit was due to Russell Westbrook last year for the triple-double season he had. And credit was due to Harden for the last 3 years coming in second for 3 years in a row, which is bull crap. So you have to give credit to other people too. I do believe LeBron James is third out of these three, unfortunately, purely because of what seasons were happening. And I know it's bull crap with James Harden coming in second, but again, James Harden is second in my MVP. Reason being, I'm giving the MVP award to Russell Westbrook is because his triple-double season last year was unbelievable.
Yes,
It was
absolutely.
great to see. It was the first since Oscar Robertson back like 20-something years ago, super long ago.
And it was also looking at his team.
Yes, his team was trash.
And when you look at his team last year, if you took Russell Westbrook out of that team, they wouldn't have made the playoffs.
They would have been 15th.
Did they make the playoffs?
They
last
didn't
year?
make the playoffs last
Yeah,
year. They were
so
7th or 8th, but they would have been like 15th in the West. They would
Right,
have been better.
and that alone screams out most valuable player to me because taking him out of the equation dramatically changes the team's standings
Mhm.
or the outcome of the team's
Percentages. It does.
percentages and production. So that's why I always say, like, Stephen Curry, I don't think he deserved his first MVP because yes, he was a great shooter, blah blah blah.
His
But
team was amazing though.
if you took him out of the equation, they still had Draymond, they still had Clay at that time, and they had a crazy deep bench. Andre Iguodala,
Yep.
they had Sean Livingston, who they still
Still
have
there.
him, but they're not as productive anymore.
That's true.
They had David Lee,
They had David West.
they had David West. It was a stacked team.
And at that time when Curry won it, the league didn't know what to do with a team like that. That was the very first 3-point live or die behind the arc kind of team where I say we as a league just didn't know what to do with it yet. But now that we have gotten game film, we know what to do now. That's why they're a little bit hush on that.
Yeah. So yeah, the Stephen Curry thing, like if you took him out of that equation, the Warriors still would have done well.
Mhm.
Even with the second time he won it, I would have said the same thing. They would have still finished probably with 60+ wins, not maybe get the 73 and 9 that they had. But I still believe he should have won MVP that year because that was the season he changed
The
the
game.
NBA.
Yeah, he changed the game.
He changed the game of basketball.
He did.
So
So I agree.
yeah.
But that's why I'm giving my award to Russell Westbrook, because if anybody deserved a back-to-back MVP award, I'm talking about the Steve Nashes, the Steph Currys and stuff like that,
LeBron James.
in LeBron James, it is Russell Westbrook. His triple-double season last year was unbelievable. He had another triple-double season this year. Single-handedly, his MVP was locked up in my mind when they said at the very last game, Russell, we need you to get 16 boards so you can get your triple-double again. What does he do? He goes on and grabs 16 boards in 3 quarters in a game that means nothing to him. That, to me, shows just value, just why you're so valuable. If you took Russell Westbrook off of his team this year, they wouldn't have been as good as that they are right now.
Absolutely.
You take off James Harden from the Rockets, yes, they're not going to win 60+ games first in the West. Their fall from grace wouldn't be as dramatic as Oklahoma City Thunder's fall without Russell Westbrook. Purely because you can run a team with Paul George. Can you run a team with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony? They would butt heads.
Mhm.
I don't think there would be enough movement of the ball that Russell Westbrook obviously does, because he's averaging 10+ assists at
Right.
10.3 assists a game this season. There wouldn't be any movement of the ball. So that's why, to my value, it is Russell Westbrook for the most valuable player on his team in the league this year. If anyone deserved a back-to-back MVP, I love Steve Nash. If anyone knows me personally, everyone knows Steve Nash was my guy. Growing up, he was my favorite player. I have every Steve Nash jersey possible. I used to think I was Steve Nash. But the person that deserves a back-to-back MVP is Russell Westbrook. I feel bad. James Harden, 4 years in a row, second place. That is bullcrap. But this is Russell's year yet again.
The thing with James Harden is, I know one of the things is saying, like you said, you don't want to give the NBA or MVP to the same person every single year.
You can't.
But at the end of the day, when you look at the MVP award, you have to look at it for just that season.
That one.
So when you look at James Harden, you can't keep in mind that, like, oh, he got snubbed last year, he got snubbed the year before, blah blah blah. Like, you have to rate it on his performance this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, I disagree with you a little bit because I feel like that Houston Rockets team would not be the same without James Harden. Even if it was just Chris Paul, they would not be as dominant as they are. The fact that you can put James Harden on an island and he can beat any player one-on-one, that is pretty much the only reason why the Rockets are that successful.
Mm-hmm.
Is his ability to just slice you up and just demolish you.
Yeah, and take you off the dribble. That's why he is the best.
He is the best one-on-one player. I would even argue of all time over Allen Iverson.
And his step-back jumper is the most lethal step-back jumper of basketball.
Ever.
Basketball.
I've never seen anything like it before. It's ridiculous.
Honorable mention to his 50-point triple-double.
Right.
He's given us stuff that's just not fathomable.
Right. And not getting as many triple-doubles this year because he's not getting as many rebounds. He doesn't need to.
Nope.
But he's also improved his defense from last year significantly.
Okay, how can that, like, his defense was absolute poopy last year, so anything is better than last year's defense. Yeah. So it's like, whatever.
So it's respectable now.
Nah.
So I think James Harden, I feel like they're gonna give it to James Harden over Westbrook. But I'm gonna go even further and say I don't think either of them deserve it.
You think it's LeBron?
I think LeBron James deserves it.
His numbers are better.
He's having the best season of his 15-year career. We have to keep in mind, like, he's the seasons that he won MVP, without a doubt, he was the best player of that area for sure. And players have been getting better since then, and I think he's one of the reasons for it. Everyone's definitely stepping their game up because they have to stop the king. He's just shitting on everyone. And that being said, he's still taking his game to, like, ridiculous levels. He's third in the league in points. Mm-hmm. He didn't miss a single game.
Yeah, he played 82. That's amazing.
When the best player in the world plays every single game, you kind of have to be like, yo, MVP.
He's pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
Look at his team. His team is shit. Without LeBron James, he played only 11 games in the final game of the season, and they lost. They clearly cannot win games without him.
It's true.
Without without LeBron James, this team wouldn't even be a playoff-bound team.
This team wouldn't even be a basketball team.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but
that's why again, every single year, LeBron James has to be in the discussion because he can take any team and make it a playoff team. You could put him on the fucking Brooklyn Nets or like the Phoenix Suns, and they'll be a playoff team. So when you take the definition of most valuable player, I think LeBron James is still the most valuable player. And even if he may not have won it the past couple of seasons, this season, he's given us more reason to say that, yes, he still is the most valuable player. Mm-hmm. So to me, LeBron James is my most valuable player.
And I can't fault you on any of those points. It's very logical.
Oh, I want to add too. Shots from 28 feet away from the rim, he's leading the league at 52.8%.
Did not know that stat. I didn't even know that was a stat.
Okay, so if anybody wants to talk shit about him not being a jump shooter,
sure, I never heard that stat before. 28 feet or further away.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah, he does have a lethal mid-range, though. He is getting a little bit better.
That hasn't gotten better in his entire career is his free throw shooting. And this year, because he's had to take on a more offensive load, he's gone to shit with defense.
Yeah.
But we know that if necessary, like you said, he is probably one of the best, if not the best defender in the NBA.
If he wants to be.
So
if he can be.
LeBron James is my MVP candidate.
Okay. And I think that's a good place to leave it off there for you, right there as well. Something to debate about. I know that we would like to hear your takes on that as well. Let's see if we can get a couple of the comments about what you guys think the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man, Most Improved, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, award winners should and could be. I know we would like to talk about it. Hopefully, we can get one podcast in before most of these awards are presented.
Absolutely.
But I know it's going to be a fantastic playoff season coming up here right now.
Can't wait, man.
Looking forward to these matchups. It's going to be a great one.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. Again, as usual, if you guys stayed with us to the whole podcast, you guys are the real MVPs.
You know it. Take it easy, guys.